My name is Lila Cross, and I'm 31 years old. That morning started with nothing special. Just me, a bowl of cereal, and a half-hearted attempt to scroll through mortgage listings. Jason and I had been saving for nearly 2 years, talking about our forever place, like people who still believe forever was measurable. He walked in, hair damp from the shower, sleeves rolled to his elbows, looking too serious for a Saturday. "We need to talk." Those 4 words are never good news. I put my spoon down. "Okay." He took a breath. "I need space, Lila. I'm burned out. The house thing, the pressure, it's too much." At first I laughed. "You need space from spreadsheets?" "No, from us. From everything." His voice cracked just enough to sound rehearsed. "I'm going to stay with my brother Aaron for a bit." "Now?" "Yeah, I think it's better for both of us." He kissed my forehead like a condolence and walked out before I could even form the word why. For 10 minutes, I sat staring at the door, listening to the faint rattle of his keys as the elevator descended. Then my phone buzzed. An automated message from the bank. "Withdrawal alert, $3,800 from joint savings, branch ID number 732. I blinked. That was our down payment fund. The one we promised to touch only when we were signing papers together. At first, I told myself it was some bill I'd forgotten, maybe a transfer mix-up, but then I checked the timestamp, 9:42 a.m., the exact moment he was telling me he needed space. Something twisted in my chest. I opened our joint account dashboard. Another alert flashed. New application received. Mortgage pre-approval in process. "What mortgage?" My name sat right beside his in bold. Co-applicant, Lila M. Cross. I hadn't applied for anything. I reread the email header 3 times, hoping I was hallucinating. The sender was a legit mortgage lender, same one we'd met months ago. The attachment even had my digital signature, perfectly replicated. I felt cold all over. I called him, straight to voicemail. I tried again, nothing. Finally, I called my cousin Erin, who worked corporate law but had enough sense to handle panic. She answered mid-lunch rush. "Lila, what's wrong?" I told her everything. The space, the withdrawal, the loan application with my name on it. She didn't interrupt, just exhaled long and low. "Okay, first, freeze that joint account. You can do it online. It stops any more withdrawals." "Aaron, he forged my signature." "You think he did. We'll prove it later. For now, protect the money." Her calm steadied me. I logged in, clicked temporary freeze, and confirmed. The $45,000 we'd built together was locked tight. An hour later, my phone lit up with an unknown number. "Lila, it's Aaron, Jason's brother." His tone was sharp, defensive. "What the hell did you do?" "Jason said you froze the savings. That's both of yours." He withdrew nearly $4,000 without telling me. "He needed it for the down payment." "On what, Aaron? The phantom house I didn't approve?" "He said you were unstable lately, that you'd sabotage him." That word, unstable, hit harder than it should have. The same tactic my ex used years ago when I found lipstick on his collar. If a woman questions you, call her emotional. "I'm not sabotaging anyone," I said evenly. "I'm preventing fraud." "Wow," Aaron muttered. "You really are losing it." He hung up before I could respond. For the rest of the evening, silence pressed against the walls. I opened the mortgage attachment again. My e-signature sat neatly beside his. Same flourish, same initials. I compared it with an old document from our accountant. It matched perfectly. He hadn't just stolen my money, he'd stolen me. Around midnight, my apartment buzzer screamed. I ignored it. A minute later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. A deep voice this time. "Ms. Cross, this is Daniel, Jason's father. You need to unfreeze that account immediately. Jason needs access to his funds." I swallowed. "They're joint funds. They'll stay locked until we clear this up." "He's under pressure, Lila. You're being vindictive." I stared at the city lights outside my window, reflections warping against the glass. If he needed space from our relationship, then he doesn't need access to our future. Tell him that. A pause. "You'll regret this," Daniel snapped. Then the line went dead. I locked every window and sat on the couch with the mortgage file open like a crime scene photo. My name stared back at me in black ink. The digital stamp date, March 14th, 2:11 p.m. The weekend Jason claimed he was on a real estate networking retreat. I whispered to the empty room, "What have you done, Jason?" My inbox pinged again. A message from Chloe Hart, independent realtor. Subject line, "Thanks for finalizing the paperwork today." I didn't know any Chloe Hart, but I had a feeling I was about to. The next morning, I woke up with that sinking feeling you get before you even check your phone, like the air already knows something's wrong. 15 missed calls from Jason, 3 from his dad, 1 from a private number, no messages, just silence stacked in numbers. I forwarded everything to Aaron and called her while brushing my teeth. He forged my name, Aaron. There's an email from a realtor named Chloe Hart. She thanked me for finalizing paperwork. Aaron's tone shifted from calm to surgical. Lila, send me the documents. All of them. We'll request a copy of the mortgage file and digital signature logs. If your signature's falsified, it's identity fraud. He can't touch the savings, and he definitely can't close on a property. I emailed her everything and added, he withdrew $3,800. I think he's paying deposits somewhere. She wrote back in 5 minutes. I'll handle the bank. Don't contact him directly. Let him stew. I wish I could say I followed that advice. By noon, my doorbell rang. Again. When I opened it, Daniel, Jason's father, stood there in a blazer too formal for a weekday. He didn't even greet me. Lila, where's Jason's stuff? In the apartment, I said carefully. Why? I'm taking it. He's moving forward with his plans. You've made enough of a mess. His plans? He sighed, dramatic. You froze the savings and embarrassed him in front of the lender. That money's half his. He's buying a property in his name. You don't get to sabotage that. I felt my throat tighten. You mean our savings? The one for our house? The one he's using without consent? Don't start with legal talk. You've always been controlling. That word again. Controlling, emotional, unstable. Mr. Turner, I said quietly, I'm not letting you into my apartment. If Jason wants his belongings, he can ask me himself, in writing. He stepped forward anyway, trying to push past me. I braced my hand against the door. Don't. He glared, nostrils flaring. You'll regret this. You're financially abusing him. Abuse? I laughed, a sharp sound I barely recognized as my own. He forged my signature, Daniel. That's not love. That's theft. He froze for a moment, confusion flickering through his eyes. Then he muttered something about lawyers and stormed down the hall. When the door clicked shut, I exhaled for the first time all day. At 4 p.m., Aaron called back. The lender responded. The system shows a biometric authorization from your email, but the IP address was registered to a Wi-Fi network in Greenridge Hotel. My pulse spiked. That's in Portland. Jason said he was at a real estate retreat that weekend. Aaron's voice sharpened. And guess who else was at Greenridge? Chloe Hart. She's listed as the attending realtor. Please tell me you're joking. I wish I were. Lila, this isn't just a bad breakup, it's criminal. I'm filing an identity fraud complaint tonight. I sank onto the couch, staring at the framed photo on the shelf. Me and Jason at the coast, hair wind-tangled, grinning like idiots. That was only 6 months ago. He'd been holding my hand while plotting a forged loan. The doorbell rang again. I didn't move this time. My phone lit up with Aaron's name instead. I hesitated, then answered. Lila, you're really dragging this out, he snapped. Jason said you're accusing him of crimes. Do you realize what that could do to his job? I'm not accusing Aaron. I have proof. He scoffed. He told me you were obsessed with control. He's been under insane pressure. He made one mistake. One mistake? He faked my identity to buy property with another woman. You don't know the full story. Then enlighten me. A pause. It's complicated, okay? Chloe was helping him find investment deals. She fronted some money, and Jason panicked when your credit came up as the fastest way to lock it down. So he stole it. He borrowed it. That's not how borrowing works, Aaron. He muttered something I couldn't catch and hung up. By evening, the apartment felt heavier. Every echo sounded like a memory. Jason laughing while building IKEA furniture. Jason promising we'd close on something big soon. I poured myself a glass of wine and opened Instagram, half out of habit, half to distract myself. Jason's account was private, but his brother's wasn't. And there, in Aaron's story feed, was a photo that froze my breath. A group shot at a wine bar. In the corner, Jason and a woman with red hair I didn't recognize. Chloe Hart, realtor, at the Chloe list. The caption read, celebrating the deal. The post timestamp, 3 days ago. My hands shook as I took screenshots. Every piece of this puzzle was slotting into place, each one uglier than the last. At 11:43 p.m., Aaron texted, got confirmation from the bank. The IP address on the forged signature matches Jason's work laptop. We're filing tomorrow. I stared at the message, heart pounding, half relieved, half nauseated. Then another text arrived, from Jason. Please don't do this. It's not what you think. I'll explain everything. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. For the first time in our 4 years together, I didn't want an explanation. I wanted distance. I wanted proof. I wanted myself back. I turned off my phone and whispered to the dark. Tomorrow, Jason Turner, you explain it to a judge. I didn't sleep that night. The ceiling felt closer than usual, like the apartment itself was holding its breath with me. By dawn, I'd already showered, made coffee, and stared at my phone long enough for Jason's last message, "Please don't do this," to fade to the top of my notifications. Erin called early. "Court accepted the fraud filing," she said. "We'll subpoena the lender for a full activity log. Also, heads up, Jason's lawyer already reached out." Already? "Yeah. They're arguing that you consented to the co-application verbally." I let out a bitter laugh. "So now my words count more than my actual signature?" "Classic deflection," she said. "We'll win this, Lila. Just don't contact him." But staying silent felt like trying to breathe underwater. Around lunchtime, my friend Tessa texted, "You okay? Something's weird at work." Tessa worked in HR at Jason's firm, and that single sentence made my pulse spike. "What do you mean?" I typed back. Her reply came with screenshots. Internal chat logs. Jason T. "Taking a few personal days. Lila's having another one of her breakdowns." Colleague. "Didn't she freeze your account?" Jason T. "Yeah, she's paranoid about my investments. Aaron Cross is feeding her nonsense." My blood boiled. Aaron Cross. He didn't even get her last name right, but he'd painted me as a deranged girlfriend meddling in his finances. Tessa followed up. "He's been out for meetings a lot, always with this Chloe woman. They leave around lunch and come back 2 hours later. She drives an Audi, plates start with 9JH. That detail, something concrete, snapped me out of numbness. "Thank you," I texted. "Don't mention this to anyone." I spent the afternoon combing through my bank portal again. Every transaction, every pattern. Then I saw it. A transfer of $2,700 to an account labeled Consulting Retainer, C. Hart. It had been split from our savings the week before he left. So not only had he forged my name on a loan, he was also paying his secret partner from our shared funds. By the time the sun set, I'd printed every receipt and stapled them into a file thick enough to hurt. Proof made me feel stable again. It gave shape to chaos. At 10:02 p.m., pounding on my door broke the silence. I didn't even have to check the peephole. "Lila, open up, please." Jason's voice, soft, urgent. I stayed quiet, hoping he'd think I wasn't home. He kept knocking, louder. "We need to talk, I can explain." "You already did," I said through the door, "with forged documents and stolen money." "That's not fair. I was trying to secure something for us." "By signing for me?" He sighed, then switched tactics. The voice I used to love, smooth and careful. "Look, Chloe fronted the deposit. I just used your credit temporarily. I meant to tell you after it closed. So you used my name, my score, my savings, and your ex's money?" "It wasn't like that. She's not my ex." That made me pause. "What did you just say?" He hesitated. "She's a friend. We dated years ago, but she's helping with investments, that's all." My chest tightened. "And those investments happen at the Green Ridge Hotel?" Silence. Then, "You've been spying on me?" "Checking my own signature isn't spying." "God, Lila, you're twisting this. Everything I did was for us." "For us?" I repeated, laughing. "You were planning to buy a house with another woman and stick me with the debt. That's not for us. That's against me." He knocked harder. "Let me in. We can fix this." I pictured his face. Half guilt, half charm. The same look he wore whenever he wanted forgiveness before the apology even left his mouth. "No," I said finally. "You can explain it to your lawyer." "You're going to destroy everything." "I didn't destroy anything, Jason. You did when you stopped being honest." He banged once more, so hard the doorframe rattled. "You'll regret this," he said quietly. Then footsteps. Silence. I waited another minute before peeking through the peephole. Gone. My hands were shaking, but I called Erin anyway. She answered on the first ring. "He came by, didn't he?" "Yes. Said I'll regret this." "Perfect," she said. "We'll file for a restraining order Monday. Document tonight's visit. Write down the time." I did. Every detail. The next day, Tessa called again. "You need to see something," she whispered. "It's about Chloe." She sent a link, thechloelist.com, a glossy website for luxury properties. Scrolling through, I froze at one listing. A mid-century townhouse. Status, under contract. Buyer names at the bottom. Jason Turner and Chloe Hart. There it was, public, documented. Under the photo of the smiling couple signing papers, Chloe had tagged her Instagram, "Dreams don't wait." And in the corner of the image, unmistakably, sat the pen I'd given Jason for his last birthday. I took a screenshot and sent it to Erin with one line. "Dreams don't wait, neither does fraud." By the following week, my world had split cleanly in two, the one where I used to plan Sunday brunches and paint color palettes with Jason, and the one where I was collecting evidence to have him indicted. Erin moved fast. She had the lender's official confirmation, signature forgery, IP match to Jason Turner, secondary applicant Chloe Hart, present at submission. The court date was pending, but the facts were locked. What remained was justice and closure. That's when the message appeared in my inbox. From Miles H. Miles Harrison at onpointfitness.com. Subject, Chloe Hart. I nearly deleted it, assuming it was spam until I read the first line. Hi, Lila. You don't know me, but I'm Chloe's fiancé. I read that sentence 3 times. Then the rest. I found emails between Chloe and Jason. I know about the fake mortgage and the hotel stays. If you're open to it, I'd like to talk. Maybe we can help each other. The irony wasn't lost on me. The only man who believed me was the one she'd betrayed too. We met at a small cafe near the river, neutral ground. Miles was tall, athletic, wearing a hoodie that said On Point Coaching. He looked like someone trying to hold his composure together with both hands. I'm sorry you got dragged into this, he said after we ordered. Chloe told me you were a jealous ex trying to ruin Jason's career. Then I found her iPad. He slid it across this table. On the screen, an open message thread. Chloe and Jason. Jason. Once the loan clears, we'll flip it in 6 months. Lila will never know. Chloe. She's smarter than you think. Jason. Not smart enough to see what's right in front of her. My throat tightened. He used me like collateral. Miles nodded. He used both of us. She transferred $15,000 to his consulting fund. I have the records. We stared at each other, 2 strangers connected by the same wound. Let's end it properly, I said. He looked wary. What do you have in mind? I smiled, cold, deliberate, a dinner. 2 nights later, everything was in motion. Miles reserved a private room at an upscale restaurant downtown. He told Chloe it was an apology dinner. I told Daniel it was a chance to clear things up and asked Erin to quietly notify Jason's lawyer that his client might want to show up. When I arrived, the room glowed with candlelight, too romantic for what it was about to host. At the center table, 6 seats. Miles sat beside me, pretending calm. He'd invited Chloe under the pretense of reconciliation. Jason came because Daniel told him there was money talk. Daniel came because he couldn't resist control. And of course, Erin was there, disguised as Lila's friend from work, with an envelope full of exhibits. At 7:02, Chloe entered, red dress, confident smile that faltered the second she saw me. What is she doing here? Good evening, I said. Hope you don't mind company. Jason walked in seconds later, freezing mid-step when he saw us both. His eyes darted from me to Chloe to Miles. What is this? Miles stood, voice level. A celebration. You and Chloe are quite the business duo. Daniel frowned. Lila, what's going on? I gestured to Erin, who opened the envelope and began placing papers across the table. Bank statement, signature logs, photo printouts. Jason's face drained of color. Where did you get those? Discovery, Erin said crisply. Everything ties back to your IP address, including the forged e-signature. Chloe reached for one of the sheets, hands trembling. Her own face appeared. In a lender's surveillance still, sitting beside Jason as he uploaded the fake form. Jason, you said you handled it, she hissed. He snapped, you were supposed to keep quiet. Daniel's voice cut in. Forged signature? Jason, tell me this isn't true. Jason's jaw clenched. Dad, it's not what it looks like. Erin leaned back. It looks like identity fraud, misappropriation of funds, and conspiracy. How would you like it to look? Miles took his cue then, sliding his own evidence forward. Chloe's transfers, emails, and photos. In case anyone doubts motivation, he said softly. The room erupted. Daniel accused Erin of blackmail. Chloe tried to grab the documents. Jason yelled at Miles. A waiter peeked in, then wisely closed the door again. I stayed quiet, letting the chaos crescendo around me. When the shouting hit its peak, I stood and said, clear enough for the whole room to hear. You all wanted a house built on lies. Congratulations, you got the foundation right. Silence. Then I placed one last paper on the table, a notarized court notice. Jason Turner, you've been served. He went pale. Chloe gasped. Miles just smiled faintly. As Erin gathered the documents, I turned to leave. Jason reached out instinctively. Lila, please, don't ruin me. I met his eyes one last time. You ruined yourself when you turned love into a contract. And with that, I walked out. Miles followed, holding the door for me. Behind us, Daniel shouted, Chloe cried, and Jason's lawyer muttered something about damage control. The door shut like a gavel. Outside, the night air felt sharper, cleaner. For the first time in months, I could breathe. Miles exhaled beside me. That was brutal. Necessary, I said. He nodded. You're not who they think you are. Neither are you, I replied. We exchanged a tired smile, the kind shared between survivors of the same storm. Then we went our separate ways. The next morning, my phone started vibrating before sunrise. Erin again. It's official, she said, her voice crisp but satisfied. The judge reviewed the documentation overnight. The forged loan has been voided, and the court ordered a 70-30 split of the joint account in your favor. I sat up, still half dreaming. Already? Speed favors evidence, she said. They couldn't argue with a digital fingerprint and a security camera photo. Jason's lucky they didn't add criminal charges for now. But the lender might. For the first time in months, I didn't feel anxious about opening my eyes. The air was lighter. The coffee tasted like something earned, not routine. By noon, the local business blog had picked up the story. Real estate broker suspended pending investigation for forged co-signature. The photo was grainy, but it was him. Jason Turner, 32, once the man who could charm a crowd with a PowerPoint, now escorted out of his firm by security. The fallout spread fast. His brokerage license suspended. The lender pressing for reimbursement. And Chloe? She tried to claim she'd been misled until screenshots surfaced showing she'd coordinated the application. Her firm dropped her within a week. Miles sent me a message. They broke up officially. She moved out. I got my savings back. Thank you for helping me close that chapter. I replied. We both just refused to be collateral. Jason tried contacting me once more, an email this time. I know you hate me, but I want you to know it wasn't about money. I wanted to prove I could build something, even if it meant borrowing your name. You were always the stable one, the adult. I got addicted to that. I thought if I made us rich, you'd stay proud of me. He ended it with, I still have the keychain from our first open house. I'll mail it if you want. I didn't respond. I didn't need souvenirs of deceit. Instead, I took the same ceramic keychain, its twin, from the drawer, the one that once symbolized our future. I hung it on a nail beside my desk. It didn't hurt anymore to see it. It reminded me how easy it is to mistake possession for partnership. A month later, Erin joined me for coffee to celebrate closing the case. You know, she said, you should write about this. Not the scandal, what it taught you. I smiled. That I'm terrible at choosing men? That you're good at not losing yourself. There's a difference. She was right. Work had promoted me. A quiet acknowledgement of how much I'd held together through the chaos. I converted what used to be our nursery draft into a bright little home office. I painted it sage green, the color of beginnings. When sunlight hit the walls just right, it looked like calm made visible. I still got the occasional whisper from mutual acquaintances, Daniel posting passive-aggressive quotes about women who destroy men's dreams, Erin avoiding my name at family gatherings. But then Frank, Daniel's quieter brother, sent a message. Good for you, Lila. Some people need to lose a battle to learn integrity. It made me smile. One evening, I walked past the restaurant where it had all exploded. The same soft light pooled through the windows, people laughing inside, unaware of the ghosts at that table. I stopped for a moment and thought about all the versions of myself I'd been there. The betrayed woman, the strategist, the witness to her own unmasking, and realized they'd all merged into someone stronger. Back home, I poured a glass of wine and opened a blank document. At the top, I typed, wanting something good doesn't mean signing away your sanity. That would be the title of the article Erin suggested, or maybe the motto of this whole ordeal. Because in the end, it wasn't about money, property, or signatures. It was about boundaries, how easily love can blur them, and how powerful it feels to redraw them in ink only you control. As the city lights flickered on outside my window, I placed the court letter in a drawer, alongside one last keepsake, the small ceramic keychain with the faded inscription, Home begins here. Maybe it still does, just not the way I once imagined.